This is the Vomero 18 by Nike, and today I'll be telling you the pros, the cons, and the in-betweens of wearing this shoe. And at the end of the video, I'll let you know if I think these are worth the $155 US price tag. As mentioned, this is the Vomero 18. This is the base model of the 3 versions of the Vomero that Nike has officially announced. And I just realized I was recording this video that the second tier, second level of Vomero, the Plus version, just dropped not too long ago. So we're still waiting on the premium. If I'm not mistaken, that should be the last one. But this is the base for those 3 versions of the Vomero. This one being primarily targeted for easier recovery runs, and that's very, very clear with the foam and midsole that they have included in this shoe. And that is actually the first pro that I want to talk about, because this shoe's midsole is one of my favorites, except for a bit of an in-between, which I'll get to in just a second. So the midsole is a dual density midsole, which means that you have 2 different types of foam that are supporting the bottom of the shoe. And funny enough, Nike actually labeled it on the shoe, which I thought was a very cool detail. You have ZoomX at the top, sitting right underneath the bed of your foot, but then also ZoomX in this thick, kind of pot looking, almost like an Air Max unit. It almost looks like they try to recreate an Air Max unit with the ZoomX like large portion in the midsole, but this is also ZoomX. And then the second half, this bottom part that also runs through closer towards the edge of the shoe or towards the outsole, that is React X. So the latest version of React, and this is a huge pro because the ZoomX sitting right below the bed of your foot provides a huge amount of comfort with each step. And on top of that, as you're pressing onto the foam here as you're running, it kind of provides that springiness. So I thought it was a very well balanced midsole. The in-between that I want to talk about is the actual stack height of the midsole and the way that it's just laid out. Personally, I think it just didn't necessarily work, and I still think it doesn't necessarily works with my personal like anatomy of my feet. And it's hard to tell whether this is good for if you tend to overpronate or whatever it is. I don't think I'm the one to say, and I don't think Nike actually mentions this on their website or on their product description. But basically, it is very tall here at the back. As you can tell, there's a lot of cushioning from that ZoomX foam, which naturally pushes your foot to go like this a little bit, which isn't terrible considering that when you run, you ideally, again, it depends on your anatomy, it's all subjective in a way, it's ideal that you land on the ball of your foot to then create more of a rocking motion as you go. So in that sense, it is good, but it did take a little bit, I think up until like the 3rd run, to actually get used to it. And it also could be because I've been wearing the Winflow 10 as my primary training shoe for the past 2 years now, basically. So it's a very different experience, but ultimately I did end up getting used to it a little bit. It does definitely feel a little bit taller, and when I first put them on, it felt like I was trying not to fall or not to twist my ankle, because the stack height is definitely a little bit taller. I also want to highlight the security on the shoe. I went true to size on these and they fit perfectly. The laces are pretty great too. Obviously, to avoid a little bit of knots, they give you these flat ones, but they also just work for the shoe to secure it properly. The tongue is quite padded, which I personally love. I'm not a super big fan of the super thin tongues, which you get sometimes in the racing shoes, and I get why you get them there, but I thought this was a smart choice to go with for this shoe. The upper is very breathable. You have this very cool mesh running throughout, plenty of openings at the toe box to provide that breathability, and then a bit of openings as you go here as well. Overall, the upper was incredibly secure, incredibly comfortable as well. That's probably what I should have said as well. It's secure and comfortable, which I think complements the idea of that recovery run. But truthfully, I've seen a little bit of everything about whether or not this should be recovery. I've seen other posts on like Instagram say that it should be a daily trainer, and I've been using this one mostly for testing purposes as a daily trainer, and I don't hate it. As much as it's good though, I do have a con, and it's the outsole. So, and I actually didn't know about this con until the other day when I was running and it started raining, and on pavement, it suddenly became very slippery. It was very clear that I was losing traction as soon as the water was kind of settling onto the pavement, and I could feel the shoe slipping. And as you can see, there is a lot of gaps, especially in the midfoot area, with these spots that Nike actually highlights. So something to keep in mind, especially if you know, you live somewhere where it rains a lot, or you want to wear it during a time of the season where it does rain a lot. Now, to not completely hate on the traction, I did wear these on gravel as well, like loose rocks, a little bit of gravel, and it wasn't just straight pavement. And they performed quite well. Like, it didn't really feel like I was slipping or like I was gonna fall. Just something else to keep in mind, that the traction isn't the best with water, but it's not the worst in general. Now, are these worth the $155 US price tag? Right now, after wearing them for, like I said, about 15 to 25 miles, truthfully, I haven't been really keeping track. They feel like a premium shoe, but you're not paying $200 for them or even $180 for them. And I think you might be able to find them on a sale ever so often. I mean, Nike's already been putting some sales on their website, back to school, obviously Christmas coming up. So at the regular price of $155, I think they are worth it.